In ancient Egypt, a land shrouded in the enigma of time, could you ever have imagined that two seemingly ordinary elements, barley and beer, would weave a tapestry of stories that reach far beyond mere refreshment? Could the grains of barley, under the watchful eyes of the pyramids, hold secrets of cultural significance, nutritional sustenance, and even the evolution of the economy? Well, dear enthusiasts of history, brace yourselves for a magnificent revelation in this video. As we tread the sands of time, let us not merely be observers of history, but participants in this unraveling exploration. But before we continue, quickly take a moment to subscribe to our channel and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on any of our new videos. The currency of necessities. Back in the day, money took on an unconventional form. The concept of currency in those times went beyond coins and paper, with agricultural foundations playing a vital role. The significance of barley emerged from its role as a staple food among the Egyptians, evolving into a form of currency itself. Barley's value transcended mere sustenance. It became a medium of exchange. This versatile grain not only filled bellies but also facilitated trade and transactions. Its significance deepened as it intertwined with the societal fabric. Remarkably, beer also emerged as a prized commodity in Egyptian society. Yes, it exceeded its status as a mere beverage. This cloudy concoction transcended its liquid form, assuming the role of both nourishment and currency. Can you imagine getting paid in beer? Workers at places like the Giza Plateau were actually given beer rations 3 times a day for their hard work. And that's not all. There's evidence that paying people with beer was common all across Egypt. It's like the workers who built those colossal monuments weren't slaves but were actually paid laborers earning their brew. Unlike the transparent beers of Europe, Egyptian beer was a nutritious porridge, teeming with essential proteins, minerals, and vitamins. Its significance was so profound that not only did beer serve as a staple food, but its containers, the beer jars, became units of measurement and even found their place within the realm of medicine. Can you just believe that? Imagine standing before vessels with bulbous bases, relics of an era long past. These containers held more than liquid. They embodied the essence of an ancient economy where beer's value stretched far beyond mere refreshment. Traces of residue within these vessels whisper of a time when brewing wasn't just a skill but a cultural rite, an integral way of life, brewing a unique economy. Yeah, back in the day, beer was way more than just a thirst quencher. It had a whole different significance. You'd be surprised by the fascinating world of ancient Egyptian brewing. So let's dive into the nitty-gritty of ancient beer making. They used to bake what they called beer bread. This was a special type of well-leavened bread, lightly baked to keep the yeast alive. The bread was then crumbled over a sieve, washed with water in a vat, and left to ferment. Interestingly, this beer bread closely resembles what's used to make boza, a traditional Egyptian home-brewed beer still enjoyed today. Some say they threw in dates or malts to spice things up. When it comes to brewing, the ancient Egyptians were on a different level. They perfected the art of brewing beer, which was highly valued in their culture. They became so famous for their brewing skills that they overshadowed the Sumerians, who were actually the inventors of the process. Even the Greeks took note of the Egyptians' brewing prowess while mostly ignoring the Mesopotamians. The Greek writer, Xenophon, sampled the Mesopotamian brew in Armenia and described it as strong and flavorful but with an acquired taste. It was served in bowls, and you drank it through a straw to avoid the malt on the surface. The Sumerians actually invented the straw for beer drinking. Their beer was thick, like modern porridge, and not something you'd just sip. The Egyptians, however, tweaked the Sumerian methods to create a smoother, lighter brew that could be enjoyed from cups or glasses. That's why ancient Egyptian beer is often hailed as the world's first beer. Despite being quite different from the brew we know today, their innovation laid the foundation for our beloved drink, the drink of the gods. So you know how beer is often called the drink of the gods? Well, turns out, according to this ancient myth, it really was considered a gift from the gods. Back in the early days of the world, the god Osiris supposedly not only taught humans about culture and farming, but also showed them how to brew beer. It's a bit of a mix-up because people sometimes say this other story, the destruction of mankind, is where beer's origin is found. But that's not quite accurate. Anyway, in the destruction of mankind, things get pretty intense. So this god Ra gets super angry because he hears that humans are plotting to overthrow him. His solution? He sends his daughter, Hathor, to basically go on a rampage and wipe out everyone on Earth. She's tearing people apart and even drinking their blood. It's all pretty wild. She then transforms into this fierce goddess called Sekhmet as she goes on her destruction spree. Ra starts to feel kind of bad about this whole situation and realizes that if Sekhmet keeps it up, there won't be any humans left to do their thing. You know, worship the gods and offer sacrifices and all that. So he has a change of heart and decides that maybe wiping out everyone isn't the best idea. The other gods are like, yeah, we told you. They point out that there won't be anyone around to learn the lesson Ra was trying to teach through all this chaos. So after Ra realizes that he can't just stop Sekhmet from her bloodthirsty rampage, he comes up with this interesting plan. He orders a bunch of beer to be dyed red and taken to Dendera, right in the path of where Sekhmet is going. When she finds the beer, she mistakes it for blood and starts chugging it down. Well, as you can guess, she gets pretty drunk, falls asleep, and wakes up as her normal self, Hathor. Now, the Tech Festival is where this whole saga gets remembered and celebrated. This festival, also known as the Festival of Drunkenness, was a hit in ancient Egypt. It first kicked off in the Middle Kingdom around 2040 to 1782 BCE, but it really took off during the New Kingdom. You'll find carvings of this whole Sekhmet transformation story in the tombs of some big names like Seti Reum and Ramesses II. During the Tech Festival, which was dedicated to Hathor, things would get pretty wild. People would drink way more than they probably should, and they'd actually fall asleep in a specific hall. Then suddenly, the sound of drums would wake them up, kind of like a surprise alarm clock. And you know what? The alcohol in their systems would lower their inhibitions, kind of like how a couple of drinks might make you feel more relaxed at a party. Here's where it gets pretty interesting. Some scenes on temple walls suggest that there was a more, playful side to the festival. Like, these scenes hint at a connection between being drunk and engaging in some private activities. Yeah, it's like they might have been using a metaphor traveling through the marshes to talk about, getting intimate. But it's not too shocking given that ancient Egyptians saw sex as a natural part of life, and Hathor was all about fertility and life, beer in daily life. But let's not think that beer was only for parties. Nope, it was a part of everyday life for Egyptians. Like, it was a basic food staple, not just something saved for special occasions. Women were actually the OG brewers in Egypt. Yeah, they were the ones who started brewing beer back in the day. I mean, you'd find these statues in tombs showing women grinding grains or sifting flour. They were the brewing bosses. And guess what? Beer used to be made right at home by women, but over time it became a big deal, and the whole beer-making thing became more of a state thing, led by men. Everyone drank beer in ancient Egypt, men, women, and even kids. It wasn't just about getting a buzz, it was also seen as a source of nutrition. They even had different types of beer based on how strong they were or their flavors. The average beer had about 3–4% alcohol content, just a bit more than your regular soda. But for religious ceremonies and big celebrations, they'd go all out with a higher alcohol beer that was considered top-notch. Beer wasn't just a drink in ancient Egypt. It was like a magical elixir they believed could heal you. Like, they had over 100 recipes that included beer as medicine. And even if beer wasn't actually listed as an ingredient, they'd still tell patients to chug a cup of beer with their meds. They thought it would totally gladden the heart, like a happy pill, but in liquid form. For some reason, they also believed beer could chase away evil spirits causing diseases. I kid you not. They had this spell for an unnamed sickness, and it was like, hey, call on the god set and he'll empower the beer to mess up those spirits so they'll leave your body. It's like beer was their secret weapon against sickness, or at least that's what they thought. As the sun sets on this historical escapade, the story of ancient Egypt's barley and beer continues to echo through time. It reminds us that money, far from being confined to modern forms, once took on unconventional shapes deeply rooted in the essentials of life. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel to see more videos like this. Bye for now.